And I
Yeah.
saw in the mail that Howard's full name is Howard T. Duck, probably sharing the official middle name with Sonic the Hedgehog. Howard D. Duck.
Yeah. So, anyways, this movie got really bad reviews. Mostly just, I don't think it was understood. Like, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, there are so many absurd movies in the 80s
Ooh.
that, I mean, are
Yes.
very similar in tone. And there were failures, too. Don't get me wrong. Most of them weren't, box office successes. But,
A lot of them were, too.
Well, agreed. But, like, I'm thinking, like, Masters of the Universe. Like,
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure how the budget compared to this one. But it didn't make money. And it's still a cult classic in a lot of ways. But it didn't, you don't get the jokes made, so to speak.
It would be an interesting question to see how they spent the money on this movie, and was it worth it how they did. So, do you have budget info, how much they spent, how much they made, how much they lost?
Well, it pretty much broke even. It made about, between worldwide, it actually made more worldwide than it did domestic. That's kind of odd to me. Apparently, I think it was France that it did really well.
In the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. But it made about $38 million, and the budget, I'm not sure why it's not exact, but it seems to be in that 30 to 36 range. So if the budget was closer to 30, then it probably came closer to breaking even once you think about promotional stuff. If it was 37, budget, then that's complicated.
That probably doesn't include all the marketing and everything. So Universal, I'm sure, lost money. Maybe the theaters were able to do okay with it.
I did see online that I can't remember where, between like DVD sales and that kind of stuff, they made about another 600,000. So my gut says, yeah, as of now. So my gut says that it's probably broken even at this point, and it probably is a profitable movie in the 30-year scheme of things. But yeah, very much a disappointment back then.
So the comic book.
Well, real quick, while we're talking about box office, you cannot blame the failure of this movie off of its competition.
Oh,
I was curious about that.
Well,
so I found so the weekend, its opening weekend, it brought in $5 million off of 1,500 theaters, and no movie had more than 1,600. So it was top. It was in all the theaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it made $5 million its opening weekend. It was beat by Aliens at number 1,
Ooh.
but its third weekend release. So
well,
Aliens got $7 million on this third weekend. Now, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, came in second with $6.7 million.
Oh, no.
So it did pretty comparable to that. But a Jason movie is never going to cost $38 million.
What's the subtitle for Part 6?
Jason Lives.
Oh.
So Howard was third place with $5 million. Then The Karate Kid Part 2 was in fourth place, but it was on its seventh week.
Ooh, yeah,
I like that. But it still brought in $4.1 million. So, like I said, the other notable movie in the top 10 was Top Gun, which was at number 7. 12th week of release, $3.4 million. So Howard barely brought in what Top Gun did on its third, for 3 full months. So you can't blame Howard's failure on just the competition. So either people just did not want to see it, they were confused by the trailer.
Yeah.
The negative, potentially, I'm not sure if the reviews back then came out early or not. I will say, from a marketing perspective, I think it is legitimate to ask, like, who was this movie for?
Right.
It's strangely enough, 99% of this movie is actually pretty clean.
Yeah.
And then you get like just a handful of really questionable, awkward, for kids type, at least, scenes, which could have been avoided. Again, I don't think that's what drove the box office, though.
For 80s movies, you could get a lot more awkward, though, than this movie does.
Yeah. So, like, but for instance, like, Logan, our biggest fan, and he was asking if he could watch Howard the Duck. And then he said, my brother, David, looked it up, and he said that the only really weird spot is you got female ducks with nipples.
Okay, I'd forgotten about that part. That's at the beginning, isn't it?